Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're here breaking down Thursday Night Football, giving you guys a little betting preview of that game. We're talking about our favorite spread picks for Sunday, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tanner. Not to toot my own horn here, but it has been a solid start to the NFL season so far. Writing spread picks for every single game over at WSN.com. Week 1 wins. Week 2 wins. Underdogs have been treating me well. Favorites have been treating me well. I'm feeling good overall. I'm confident right now, and that's the best thing you can be as a bettor.
I didn't make a lot of money this weekend, but I did profit, and I was down so much money. Like I was down a big chunk of money just from Notre Dame. That was a terrible game. And then I roll into Sunday. I was sitting there like 11 o'clock on the couch after the Notre Dame game was over. And I was like, how am I going to get this money back? And I said, you know what? Let's look to the NFL slate. Hit the Patriots plus 3.5, parlayed with the Eagles plus 7.5, came back, hit a Red Sox bet, and then won on Sunday Night Football, one on Monday Night Football. It's just what we do here on the podcast. We just win.
What did I tell you? I told you, throw all your concerns out the window. The Patriots are going to win that game. You got nothing to worry about.
They shouldn't have won the game. They should not have won the game.
Now, it wasn't going to be close until they got the punt return touchdown.
If they don't return the kick for a touchdown, I have no faith in them driving down the field and scoring a touchdown. As good as the offense was, I still think they would have folded in that spot just because they were tired. It was late. The pre-snap penalties were a problem. But I give them credit for returning the kick for a touchdown. But in no world do I have any faith in them to go down and score if they don't get the kickoff return for the touchdown.
Can I just say this? We got to get into the picks. We got a bunch of picks coming up. So to the people, if you're new on the channel here, just give us like 2 more minutes. We're going to be getting into that. But can I just call it a couple of teams they've made my disgrace list. A couple of teams are a disgrace. I bet the Bengals minus 3.5. So I'm as thankful as anybody they covered. If you're the Jaguars, Liam Cohen, you got the ball on the 7-yard line on 4th and 5. You've just been stonewalled the first 3 plays. And you go for it up 3 late in the game. Now, I know the Bengals did end up scoring a touchdown there, but that was the dumbest thing you could have done because the Bengals could have kicked the field goal and just sent that game to overtime. He went for it for no reason. I don't know how Jake Browning comes in the second quarter or the third quarter, whichever it was, has 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You have a lead and you don't come through with it. So that was a disgrace. And then the other team that's a disgrace, not the Indianapolis Colts, the Denver Broncos. I had them at -1 against the Colts. You're leading pretty much the entire way. Yes, the Colts were playing well in the first half, but Bo Nix, I'm not a Bo Nix guy. You know that. You make fun of me for it. He was sensational in the first half. You come out in the second half, it's a totally different. He had like 20 yards in the second half, something like that. Throws an interception. The Colts walk away. They steal it at the end. Those are my 2 disgraceful teams I got to shout out.
I think Liam Cohen's an idiot. I think Baker Mayfield made Liam Cohen. I think Baker Mayfield made Dave Canales. Baker Mayfield is the star who just makes head coaches. Liam Cohen was yelling at Trevor Lawrence for like a second down pass early in the game or middle of the game when he didn't put it on whoever's chest. He was like hitting his chest on the
hit him in the numbers.
Yeah, hit him in the numbers. He's yelling at him. Like that play was a non-factor play. It's not like it's third down game on the line. It's like you got to settle your quarterback down in that situation. So Trevor and him don't seem to be bonding too well, even though after the game Trevor did defend him. So I agree with your take there. I think the Colts are a good football team. Like the Broncos made mistakes, and obviously it wasn't just on Bo Nix. It was the whatever the penalty was hitting the long snapper at the end of the game, leverage penalty. So I still think the Broncos are going to be fine, but I think the Colts are just bottom line a good football team. So if they figured out a way to shut down Bo Nix, they're the Colts. They're still going to be okay this year based on what we've seen the first 2 weeks.
I got to say, I made a draft in one of my fantasy football leagues, a dynasty league. So we carry it over year to year. I had drafted Travis Hunter with the 2nd pick. I could be proven wrong, but I wasn't high on Travis Hunter as high as I would have been on some other players, but I knew I had to take him 2nd because he was going to be gone, and I figured I could flip him. So you know what I did? I traded Travis Hunter and a 2nd for Emeka Egbuka and 2 firsts. And I feel like Egbuka might just be the better player overall. Yeah. And I got 2 firsts for the cost of a 2nd on top of that.
Ibuka is unbelievable. Ibuka is a better receiver than Travis Hunter. Obviously, he can't play defense, but Travis Hunter out there costing his team games with the PI at the end. I didn't think it was pass interference, but still, I would much rather This is where we get into the situation with Travis Hunter, where it's like he's going to sell t-shirts. Obviously, he's a freak athlete. He's an unbelievable two-way player. But in the end of the day, the NFL is not about playing two ways. It's about who can play one way the best. So I would rather take the guy that's played one way over the guy who's played two ways at a really high level. I take Emeka Egbuka, who's just been fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. He looks like the best receiver the Bucs have, which is crazy considering Mike Evans is there and Godwin's going to come back eventually.
Evans caught some passes last night, which was nice, but overall, yeah, it's been the Emeka Egbuka show. Bucky Irving's fantastic. That's the steal of your draft 2 years ago, or last year. Third? I think he was a third rounder.
He might have been. He might have been later than that.
But he's fantastic. Anyways, Grant, while you look that up, let's talk about WSN.com.
He was in the fourth round.
Fourth round. Okay, fourth round. Well, while Grant was looking that up, let's talk about the World Sports Network, WSN.com. We are presented by WSN.com. Guys, make sure you go down, link in the description below. Check out the articles, the promo codes, the picks. We got a lot of sports betting info on there across all sports, not just the NFL, to get you guys set up and successfully betting. And Grant, why don't you tell them why they need to subscribe to Ride the Line podcast?
Tanner and I are coming out with picks for all the primetime games, all the weekday games, all the weekend games, basically every game throughout this NFL season. We got betting picks, we got winning picks, as you've seen from the first 2 weeks. And we're going to carry that momentum through the rest of the season. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button. If you want to support us, if you like the picks, if you hate us, but you think we're funny, hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds out of your day. It is the number one way you can support the channel. Costs you absolutely nothing other than 2 seconds out of your day. And it makes sure that we get these videos out there and we get to spread them out into the algorithms.
100%, guys. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. And let's talk a little bit about this Bills-Dolphins game. Before we get into the picks, we're just going to talk about the landscape of the league for both of these teams right now. Big difference between the Dolphins and the Bills coming into this game. Miami is playing literally for their head coach. So usually when a coach is on the verge of getting fired, and I think they do like Mike McDaniel. I can't say they don't. He seems like a cool dude. He seems like one that you want to play for. We don't really hear a lot about the players hating Mike McDaniel. Or like Matt Eberflus or something, like you knew he was an idiot. He had the reputation of an idiot. Mike McDaniel, I think since he dresses so cool, he doesn't have that same reputation, but his teams can't play defense. Like that's the bottom line there. So if I'm a Dolphins player, and I'll get your opinion on this, Grant, are you coming in this game fighting hard for your coach, or are you like folding, hoping he gets fired? Because I can't get a read on how they think of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, it's interesting. I agree that I don't think they hate him, but I also think they might view him as a cool guy, a friend, more than a coach. And that's I feel that reflected in the quarterback. I feel that reflected in the way they play. I feel that reflected in they can't win cold weather games. They can't beat teams above 500. That's just the general vibe that I get. They don't feel like a team of fighters. We know that they have skill, they have talent, but they already maximized that. We saw that, I think it was probably 2 years ago when they hit their peak on that. And ever since, they've just been regressing. It's been getting worse and worse. So, I mean, whether or not you're playing your hardest depends on the player, but I do think the Mike McDaniel era is done at the end of this year, if not before then.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets fired because, like, you can't be going to this game thinking you're going to win it if you're the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, there's always a chance, but people are saying, well, if he gets blown off the field on Thursday, he's getting fired on Friday. Well, I imagine he's going to get blown off the field. Like, there is pretty much a higher outcome of him getting blown off the field than if he keeps this game close. So I don't know if that should show you anything you need to know. Like, if you want to fire him. His teams can't play defense. If you want to keep him, this game shouldn't really change your opinion on that.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I mean, if you're a bad team, your opinion should not be swayed by when you go against maybe the best team in the NFL.
And let's just say, too, this past weekend against Patriots, they're a better team than the Patriots. Like, I will stand on that. The Patriots looked really – if the Dolphins can tighten up their defense a little bit. Obviously, Bradley Chubb's good. They need a little more help there. But offensively, like, these teams are on two different levels. The Dolphins are so much better than the New England Patriots. It's not even close. And their slow start, if they would have come out running all the motions and the quick passes down the field and stuff early, the first couple drives when the Patriots did have some success on defense, they probably still win the game. I think the Dolphins come out and win the game.
Yeah, but they do have Tua turning the ball over in bunches. So
he had one.
I mean, the end of the game was an absolute disgrace from Tua to throw that interception. I don't know what he's saying. And then on fourth down to take a sack, like that is the time to throw an interception. Just throw it as high in the air as you can. If you can't see anybody else, put the ball up. You know what gives you a 0% chance to convert a fourth down? Taking a sack.
Yeah, It's hard to. Like, I don't want to say neither of us played an NFL quarterback. It's hard. Like I do want to say that too. That's another thing. We get critical on these guys. Like I see it with the players who get mad a lot. Like we've never played at that level. Like we never played quarterback in the NFL. So it's obviously hard. It's hard, but like these guys make millions of dollars too. So you got to be better.
Yeah. Now, speaking of millions of dollars, we know that Tua's making millions, Tyreek's making millions, Josh Allen's making millions. There's a lot of money at stake in this game, but these two teams are pretty far apart.
Yeah, and the Bills come into this one after blowing the Jets off the field, which I was kind of surprised with. I thought they'd win the game. I thought they'd cover. I didn't think it would be a massacre. Like the Jets looked like the old Jets. And it's funny too, Grant. You got all these teams that just consistently year after year, no matter what they do, new coach, new GM, new quarterback, they just can't win. I'll think of a couple: Bears, Jets, Giants. They can't get it done.
Yeah, Browns, add them to the list.
Yeah, add them to the list. But the Bills look good right now. I still don't think the Bills are as good as the Ravens at all. I will stand on that.
So, do we want to start here? We go with the spread, and then we jump into some player props.
Yes. Do you think the Bills are better than the Ravens?
I would say no.
There you go.
I could be wrong, and I can also change my mind. But right now, I'm saying no.
We'll start with pick on the money line. Do you have any interest in taking the Miami Dolphins plus 530 in this game? Yeah, let me try to. I'm not taking them, but let me try to sell you on this. All right, you got a team coming in here, going up north. It's not cold yet, so they're going to be just fine. You have a coach who's fighting for his life. You have a team offensively who at least looked a lot better in game 2 than they looked in game 1. You have a defense that didn't look great in their game, game 1 or game 2. But the bottom line is, playing for your coach, you got a guy in Josh Allen who might be on top of the world right now. Bills could be overlooking them Thursday Night Football. Is it worth sprinkling a 5-1 money line there?
Absolutely not. Next question.
All right.
No.
So
I appreciate the effort, but no.
But you know what? You never know. It's the NFL. Anyone can win. But I will be taking the Bills with my survivor pick this week and all my survivor picks probably. So Bills minus 12.5, Dolphins plus 12.5. We saw it last week. The Browns had a lot of action for a plus 11.5 against the Ravens. A lot of quote unquote sharp money was on that side of the line because it's a divisional game and it's so hard to win by that in the NFL and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is, we saw it last week with the Browns. They just couldn't score. Like they couldn't put together drives when they needed to. This is why I'm a little more on Miami in this case for like taking 12.5 points. Not saying I'm going to do it, but the bottom line is they can score. That is the biggest perk of their team. The ability to go down, score, run confusing offenses, win with speed. And that would be the one reason I side more with like a plus 12.5 spread here rather than laying 12.5 with the Bills.
So I did take that 12.5, 11.5, whatever it was with the Browns last week, got burned by it. But that doesn't mean that the trends didn't support it. I think the Browns had covered that line like 6 of their last 9 times they matched up with the Ravens. This made it 6 of 10, but that's still 60%. And 60% in betting is winning pretty comfortably. You're doing a great job if you're hitting 60% of your spread bets. So in this particular game, not saying that everything is apples to apples here. It's different teams, different years, different coaches, all that stuff. I get it. But I am going to take the Dolphins. It's a short week for both teams. So they're not going to be as prepared for one another as you would think as they would in any other week. It's in Buffalo, but like you said, it's not cold yet. It is a divisional matchup, and we can say the Dolphins are a dead team walking. Mike McDaniel's a dead man walking. But teams, they're still competitors. They still get up. They want to beat their rivals. These teams know each other well enough, and this is a huge line. You're asking the Bills to win by at least 2 touchdowns. And like you said, unlike the Browns, everything had to be defense. If you're covering 12.5, it's because the Ravens didn't score more than 20 points. The Dolphins could score 28 on the Bills and still lose by a lot, but they would probably cover this 12.5 point line. So I don't think the Dolphins are good. I think Tua's not their quarterback for the future. I think Mike McDaniel's getting fired by the end of the year, but they can score. And when it's a divisional matchup, short week, that's what you need. And I do think they can cover.
Yeah, I mean, last year they lost by 21 to the Bills, and then they lost by 3 to the Bills. So the game that they lost by 3 was in Buffalo in November. Going back to 2023, we're starting to get back to when the Dolphins were actually a legitimate football team. They lost by 28 to the Bills, and then they lost by 7 to the Bills. So you're 1-1 each year. And then back in 2022, which is the first we'll go back, they beat the Bills by 2, and then they lost by 3. So yeah, I mean, they play them tight, you know. Listen, yeah, the Dolphins have no chance of like blowing the Bills off the field in this game. Like, let's make that clear. Like if they're covering, it's probably like, hey, 10 points, and we might need a backdoor touchdown kind of thing. But I still can't lay 12.5 points for a team going against an offense that can score, because we saw it when the Dolphins are cooking offensively. Tua's going to throw his picks, but when that team is on offensively with all their motions, they're really hard to stop.
And also, we've seen this with the Bills play calling in recent years. When they're playing inferior teams, there has been more of that run the ball, control the clock sort of style. Josh Allen's not taking huge deep shots down the field. He actually, I don't want to say stat pads, because he doesn't, but he gets his big stats against big teams. Normally it's in these lesser games. I mean, yes, they did just beat the Jets. I understand, but his stats weren't incredible. It was just kind of a dominant team victory. So that also kind of plays into this, where the Bills can be up by 10 points and no, Dolphins have no chance of winning this game. So we don't need to go pedal to the metal.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't throw a touchdown last week. So coming off what he did against the Ravens, that's definitely a little bit of a letdown, but it's just how they play against these teams. So I like that point a lot. So yeah, I'll take the Dolphins plus 12.5. I'll probably do a teaser with them. I think it's a really good game for a teaser, because you can get upwards of 17.5 with that. And again, if they win by 17, I tip my cap. Like if the Bills go in there, I would say 20 plus, because that's probably what it has to be. I will tip my cap. Anyways, the total, Grant, 49.5. I hate NFL totals. I just want to say that I hate totals in general. I don't know about you, but I don't really mess around with totals much in college or the NFL. I've done it a few times, and they don't. This excitement of watching a game, betting a total, it doesn't do it for me.
It is also, I think it's harder to get a read on what style of game it's going to be and how that directly lines up with the total. For example, if you think the Dolphins, actually, let's talk about Monday night. Let's say you thought the Chargers were going to cover the spread because you thought they would get an interception off of Geno Smith, and they ended up getting 3, but you thought the turnover battle would shift in the Chargers' favor, and that's why they would cover the spread. That makes sense. When you're talking about total perspective and you say Geno Smith's going to turn the ball over so the Raiders aren't going to score, it's like, okay, well, if we follow that scenario, maybe Geno Smith throws an interception, sets the Chargers up in short field. They score a touchdown. Now, because the Raiders are trailing, they're incentivized to throw the ball more. So that leads to a quicker 2-minute sort of offense, and they end up scoring. It doesn't, the way that you can conceptualize a game, it doesn't translate to total the way that it does for a spread.
Yeah. In this one, though, I can literally see a world where the game goes over or under and both teams cover. Like the Dolphins to cover 12.5, they could put up a ton of points. Buffalo could put up a ton of points. They cover. It could also be a game where the Bills just don't have it offensively. The Dolphins do enough offensively. It stays under. You know, the Bills, if the Bills cover the spread, I'm more so thinking the game goes under. That's the one way that I would lean, just because I don't think the Dolphins are putting up a lot if that's the case. But I think for the Dolphins, at least to cover, it could go either way.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Dolphins plus 12.5. I really don't have much of a lean here on the total.
I will say go under for the total, because I need to give a pick for the people. And I think that the Buffalo Bills defensively will do enough to keep Tua in check. I don't think they'll be as confused with the motions as the Patriots were last week, because that was a total difference maker. And I think we're going to see a lot of James Cook in this game, run game, not going to see a ton of Josh Allen throwing, and that will ultimately lead to an under. It's going to be tight, though. This could be like 28. I think like 28-17 is a realistic score in this game. 31-17. Are they still covering there?
No,
Yeah.
that would be Bills.
31-20. 31-20.
I like where your head's at.
That goes over. So, I mean, we're close there. It's right on the cusp.
Yeah, I like where your head's at. I think that's right. I think a 28-17 sounds like the appropriate number for this game.
Yeah, 28-17, game stays under. And if it goes over, I'm thinking 31-20. So,
player props here.
So yeah. Should we start with some touchdown scores?
So I made a little 3-leg parlay. I don't have any touchdown scores, but feel free to give me your thoughts, and then I will let you know what I got.
All right, you go first.
Well, okay.
I thought you were 3-leg parlay. I thought you were going 3-leg parlay.
Oh, you want? Okay, I thought you meant go first with the touchdown scores.
No,
okay,
3-leg parlay.
Okay, so I moved we're gonna start with the spread. I moved it up just a little bit, just take it to 14.5 because 14 is part of the critical number. It's 3, 6, and 7 in sports betting. So 12.5, it's a lot of points. I get it. It obviously covers you on the 10 line. And if it does get 28-17, it covers you on an 11 line, but games don't really usually end in 12-point differentials. 14 it makes it a little bit safer. So first leg, Dolphins plus 14.5. I'm going to take Devon Achane 30 plus receiving yards. We know how critical the passing game to the running back, how critical of an element that is in the Dolphins offense. And let me just find out. I want to make sure I get this number right. Yeah, last week he had 92 receiving yards. Now he only had 20 in week 1, but that's when the Dolphins scored 8 points. I would like to think they would be capable of scoring more than just that. Also, we do know the Bills have a solid defense. So Tua, check the ball down. Don't throw an interception. He's comfortable. He loves him some check downs. And then I'm going to take Josh Allen under 28.5 rushing yards. And I get that sounds weird, but let me just make the case for it. So last week, Josh Allen had a 40-yard run, which is obviously big time. But if you take that out, 5 carries for 19 yards. In week 1 against the Ravens, he ran 14 times for 30 yards. I don't think he's going to put his body on the line that much. And 30 yards, 2.1 yards per carry is pretty bad. And then when these teams played last year, Josh Allen, 2 carries for 2 yards and 2 carries for 7 yards. So he's not been this incredible runner as of late, that 40-yard run notwithstanding. And he barely ran the ball when he played the Dolphins last year. So I'm going to take him under on that line.
I like that. My biggest fear would just be the fact that he can take off and he's capable of having a 30-yard run without even thinking twice, or a couple, big chunk runs to get over the line. But I agree with the take. I just don't. It's hard to put that in there knowing that he can scramble at any time, especially against the Dolphins pass rush that, had a little success against New England Patriots last week. I just don't think they're going to be in a situation where they got to sit back in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. I think it's going to be quick releases. So I would agree. I just wouldn't play it. I like Achane on the receiving. I think that's a really good line based on what he did against the Patriots. He looked fantastic. They're using him as a running back by throwing the football as well. So that's just another reason to lean over on that line. So I like it. I think it's all
also
good.
Drake May last week against the Dolphins, 10 carries for 31 yards. I get it. That's over by 2.5 yards, but it's 3.1 yards per attempt. And 10 carries is a lot. I don't think Josh is going to run that much.
Drake May's also not an athletic freak. Like, I don't know where the baby Josh Allen comparisons came into play. Maybe because of his size. I don't know, but I've heard baby Josh Allen a lot of times when he was coming in the Patriots and all that. He is not even close to Josh Allen. He cannot run like Josh Allen. He's mobile enough to get out of the pocket and convert first downs with his legs, but he's not. You can run designed runs with him too, but he is not a dangerous runner like Josh Allen.
The thing is, I think he's actually probably faster than Josh Allen is, but he's not as good of a runner.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Let's see what their 40 speed was. Drake, man.
Did he run the 40?
He had to, right?
Nah, you can opt out of that.
Okay. It was not recorded at the combine, but he's a 4.6.
Josh Allen's was a 4.75.
And Josh Allen's a freak runner. Josh Allen is so deceptive with how he runs the ball and how he gets in space and the angles that he makes defenders take. And Drake's just he's not like that. And I give Drake all the credit in the world for last week, but he's not a good runner. Not a great runner.
All right, let's hear your touchdown scores, whatever props you got. Let's hear them.
All right, so we'll start with touchdown scores. You can't play Cook or Allen unless you're in a parlay, so I would not do that. I would probably take James Cook plus 420 first touchdown. If you do like a James Cook touchdown, I would stick James Cook touchdown in a parlay. I'd go Achane to score plus 120 anytime. Had the touchdown last week. I think he can have another touchdown this week, so I like that. I also kind of like Tyreek Hill to score plus 175. I think what he did last week as far as extending plays with his legs, the speed outs, there was no answer for what the Patriots did. And I think the fact of the matter is the Bills have to respect the speed once again. Also, he had the 30-yard catch that people were bugging him about, so maybe he finds the end zone this week. So I would take him. I would stay away from Waddle, Shakir, Palmer, Kincaid, maybe if you want to play him, but I'd probably not. So I would say touchdown scorers. I like Tyreek. I like Achane, and then James Cook first touchdown. Now, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
If you got something to say it, because I got a lot more.
The only thing, I'm just looking at this board and I'm wondering at what time do we finally get an Ollie Gordon sighting? Because Achane, he does a great job for them, but but he's not a real running back. He's just not. He had last week, it was 11 carries for 30 yards. In week 1, 7 carries, but 55 yards. Like the way he runs is just not how he doesn't set up the offense. If that was a David Montgomery and then ACHANE was coming in as the off-speed back and he was the receiving back, it would fit a lot better. I feel like they are missing someone. So one of these days, and I don't know if it's going to be this game or not, but Ollie Gordon's going to get 8 to 10 carries, and I'll probably get a touchdown on one of them. And I'm looking at him from 5-1. So I'm not saying it is this game, but like that game is coming at some point.
I don't know if that's coming until Mike McDaniel is no longer the head coach, because just the way Mike McDaniel calls his offense, like he's not a power run guy. Like he's running college offenses. We're trying to win with speed. That fits, like ACHANE fits that mold for him. But I agree, in a normal like pro style system, you probably can't go with ACHANE to be your number one guy.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, and you're probably right about McDaniel, but I don't know. Ollie Gordon was also a great college running back, and he either won the Doak Walker or he was the favorite to win it in 24. 24 is this massively disappointing year, but in 23 he was excellent.
What round did he get drafted in?
It was late, like 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe
6th round. The best Ollie Gordon story is after he gets the DUI. And Mike Gundy is like, we're going to make him, he was talking about like blowing whatever he did on his, on the gun. And he was like, I've done that 1,000 times or whatever. He's like,
oh yeah,
what the punishment's going to be. He's like, well, you're going to make him carry the rock 50 times on Saturday.
That was great. Well, maybe Mike McDaniel does that. Maybe we get a touchdown out of him.
I don't know, but I think ACHANE scores at least. All right. So now we move into the passing props. I think for the Dolphins to cover in this game, as you were just talking about, Grant, the run game is not fantastic for the Miami Dolphins. Tua has to go over 238.5 passing yards. What did he have last week?
He had 300 something last week.
Yeah, I think this is a game where I don't think they're going to embarrass the Buffalo Bills defense like they did New England Patriots defense. But no matter what, you can't afford to really blitz this team because they're so fast. That plays to the strength of the Dolphins. Those speed outs are there all night. So I think he's going to go over the passing yards there. Josh Allen, I'm going to stay away from the passing yards. I also like Tua to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns for plus 134. I think that's another good value deal, especially with how they looked last week.
Okay, so we are all in on the Dolphins at least being competitive in this game.
I mean, Tua could throw 2 touchdowns and they still don't cover. Like there is a world for that. I just don't. Probably not, but he could still throw 2 touchdowns and they could lose 50 to 30.
Do we have any final thoughts on this game, or are we good to move on to Sunday picks?
I'm kind of excited for it, but like also not really. I think that the biggest reason to be excited for is just the fact that Mike McDaniel is jobs on the line. So we're going to see how they come out and play for him.
Yeah, this is definitely the worst primetime game we've gotten. So we've had Cowboys Eagles, which was good. If you want to count the Friday game, Chiefs Chargers was good. Ravens Bills, Vikings Bears, which proved to be a very good game, and it was interesting with Caleb and JJ. Commanders Packers maybe wasn't that interesting of a watch, but it was a good story. Falcons Vikings was a good story. Again, the rookie classmates. Bucks Texans was good. Chargers Raiders divisional. That was probably the worst one we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the case. Yeah, the Chargers Raiders game was trash. That was a terrible game. But you can make the case that this one's going to be more exciting. Like when you're circling games, like when these games are picked out before the season, like it makes sense why they picked it, obviously. Yeah. But I think this one's more exciting to me than Chargers Raiders, because like once the Raiders played about 5 minutes of the football game the other night and they showed Tom Brady up with his headset on, the game stopped being interesting. Like they were never really in it. But yeah, I look at this one saying like, hey, Mike McDaniel, let's see how the team comes out for him. See how the boys play. So it should be interesting.